I'm Patricia Stuart. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to look at experimenting as usual with some golden open acrylics on the gel plate and some subtle type marks that we can make. I like golden open acrylics because they're transparent. So come along with me and see what we come up with. Well, let's see what we can do with what we have. I don't know how many of these materials or tools that I put out will I use, but it's just a thought. And so in the event that I want to mix some paint, I'll mix it on my 3x5 gel plate. And I'm working with my I think this is, let's see if I can get the correct size of this gel plate. It's a 5x7 gel plate here. I have so many of them that I forget what sizes they are. Okay, and I have my roll-off book that I use to roll off excess paint. Okay, so I'm going to start with I'm going to start with this manganese blue golden open. The other good thing with these, you only use a little. You don't have to use a lot. They stay wet longer for you. And you're able to continue to pull prints without it drying so quickly. Okay, so I'm going to be using some like cardstock paper. It's not too heavy. And let's spread this paint. Need a little bit more. Just going to pull a solid print. Of blue. Also with the open, gives you a nice clean pull off the plate. Okay. Now I'm thinking of using this stencil to create just a nice subtle background. So I don't want to use too dark a color, but a color that you will be able to see through the blue. Let's see. I'm doing this for the first time. I'm using Indian yellow hue. Let's see if I can get a subtle pull background. I'm not sure if this is going to show up. Let me just add just a little bit more. I just want a subtle background of the that will show up on the blue with that stencil. What's the worst that could happen? Well, that it doesn't work. Okay. Let's see if we can get this. Sometimes we don't have to go with very bold paints all the time for bold prints. Sometimes that's what we want. And those are beautiful. But sometimes subtle. Not heavy in color, but softer works also. Yes, and we were able to do that nicely. And then let's see what ghost print I can pull up. And so, yes, that's a nice soft one. Okay, and now I'm thinking of putting some birds, and I've used packing tape to tape off the flowers and the bark, because I just want the two birds on top. And so we'll see if that will work. So I need to come in now with a darker color. I'm thinking of Payne's Gray. I know that looks like a lot, and it probably is a little bit too much. Okay, let's see. Okay, put the birds on. And let's see if we can pick them up on here. And even though we're getting color, which golden, all of golden paints are excellent for color. But here I'm going for maybe a little different look. Oh, I didn't get the whole part. Well, just a little of the leaf. But here are the two birds. Very nice. And because I only taped the front of the stencil, when I press down, if you can see it, it's giving me the whole stencil. So let's pull that on top of here. Get this stencil out of the way. Well, that's interesting. It took over the whole print of the previous ghost print. You see a little color in between. Now I'm wondering what else could I add to this. And I'm thinking of some spirals from this. And so I'm just going to wipe my plate off a little, so I don't pick up any residue of what we had. And let's see, what would be a nice color? Maybe a little crimson. Oh, that's a bit dark. This is a little dark, too dark. Maybe a little yellow. Sometimes getting these tops back on are a little tricky. All right, I'll do that later. So I'm going to try some of the cadmium yellow. See if we can get some spirals going here. Okay. Take our print. See if we can pick up. Have to press really with pressure to pick up some of these spirals. We may see them on top of the birds as well. You still can see the birds, and we see the spirals. And so this is a little bit more subtle, soft, and with some transparency. Let me pick up these spirals. And here's the ghost print of that. And so when we go for something subtle, it's not as strong as if we were using other types of acrylic paints. But like I said, with golden, it's transparent. I like the fact that I can see all the colors that I use on top of each other, behind each other. That works well. And I'm thinking maybe I could do one more pull with some color. Add a different color. And so I'll go with cadmium red light red. Let's see what we can get with that. It's fun to just experiment and see where you can go with things. I'm going to use this. I have two of them. And let's go for it. We never know what we're going to get. But the main thing I like about the Golden Open acrylics is its transparency. And there in the background, You see the birds. And I kind of like that. It's very subtle. You see what's in the background. You could see all the colors underneath as well. Now, you could always take a paint pen, a white paint pen, or whichever you want to use, and I'm going to use this to pick up the ghost print. You could, you know, bring out the birds more if you like, if you want them to stand out more. I kind of just like the subtle effect of seeing them in the background behind the colors in between. I kind of like that. And we see the spirals in between, behind, and you still pick up the polka dots as well. And so there you have it. Going for something subtle, transparent, that you can see behind, to experiment. And so the birds were a good choice to use as an object or subject behind. And like I said, you could, if you want to, leave one bird in the back, let one bird come to the forefront. You could sort of trace it either with a micron, a very fine pen, or a white paint pen. It depends on what you want, what you're going for. And so I'm kind of happy with how this has turned out. As an aside, as I say, I have a roll-off book to roll my brayer off on. And I don't like to waste paint. Roll off excess paint that was on this color shaper, like so. I don't like to waste paint, so I roll it off. I have a book. I used to use, you know, individual pieces of paper, but then I decided to start putting them in a book. And let me show you what I've accumulated over time. And these were all paint roll-offs that I thought left very nice designs. And I would come back and do something on top sometimes with a stencil. Or I liked the background and I did some doodling. Here's a stencil I did on top. I had a lot of colors in the background and I used a stencil for that. Doodling. And it further allows me to create something and I'm not wasting the paint. So it's a good thing to do if you have your roll-offs in a book. I'm still working on this one here with doodling, but I go with whatever inspiration. And so I roll off my paints. And as I'm inspired, I come back and try to turn it into a design. So I hope that you will also experiment. This was today's roll-offs, and I like all of those colors together. And so perhaps you too will try your hands at some golden open acrylics. You can, you know, buy 3 or 4 of them or a whole set of them. But you can start with maybe 3 colors and see what you come up with. So thanks for joining me today. Keep doing art. Till next time.